Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. If you've been following the channel, recently I noticed that the control board or this user interface wasn't working on my dishwasher. And I was able to fix it by going underneath the dishwasher. And I took off, there's a kick plate down here. And I unplugged this control board and then plugged it back in. And then I was able to use the dishwasher. But here we are 2 weeks later, and the user interface isn't working again. I was able to do a couple, 2 or 3 times I used my dishwasher. I was able to get it to work, but now I can't get it to turn on even though I disconnected the control board and turned the power off, both at the AC plug under my dishwasher, as well as at the breaker. Researching online, it's either there's a control board behind this user interface called the UI or user interface control board, or it's the main control board down here. This one appears to be getting power. It's got this rapidly blinking light on there. I can't find anywhere where they say what that actually means. Other than there is a Reddit forum where they say that's usually a problem with something else besides the control board. If it's just straight green, then the control board I think is fine. If it's not blinking, or if there's no light at all, then the control board I think is most likely dead. So most likely, since there's a light to it, the control board is working. The way you test that, to be 100% sure, is there's this little plug here. That's where the user interface from the top. That's the wire harness for it right there. Connects right there, and you can take a altimeter and you can test the voltage. And it should be between 12 and 14 volts. And I already did that. You basically touch there's 5 pins in there, in that little connector there. You touch the second and the fifth pins together. Mine measured 13 volts. So this board is working. So there's either a problem with this wire harness or with the user interface board that's behind here. So in order to replace that, I'm going to have to take this door off. Sorry for the mess in my dishwasher. I was expecting to do some dishes. But I'll get that cleaned up, take this door off. And I have the part on order, should be here in a few days. And I'll show you guys me doing all that. And here is my dishwasher model and serial number. This is the model GDT655SSJ5SS. And also, guys, if you want to see how I got this kick plate and the control board panel down, there's kind of the kick plate over there. I'll put a link to my other video down in the description. Alright guys, so I'll do a demonstration on how to check the voltage in this control board. So before you do this, go ahead and disconnect the power before you even start working on the dishwasher. Take everything down, disconnect the user interface so that you can see this pin connector right there. And then go ahead and plug it back in so that you can test the voltage. And be careful not to touch any of the wires to the right. They should be, capped and safe, but obviously you can never be too safe. Alright, here's a video of me just testing out how many volts are going to this board. So you may not be able to see it here, but you'll at least be able to kind of get an idea of you touch your red one up here to this 5th pin, and your black one down to the 2nd pin. And we'll see how we do. So you can see 13.2 there. So we know the board is getting power. So our part came in, ordered it on a Friday, came in on a Monday, so not a bad deal. As you can see, the dishes are starting to stack up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this door off. We have to take a look at few YouTube videos, see what I need to do. I may have to pull this whole dishwasher out. We'll see. Hopefully not. I have the power turned off currently, but I have the control board that goes behind here. So we'll see how it goes. So I did some quick research and some troubleshooting, and it turns out I'm going to have to pull this dishwasher out and undo some cables that go just below here. So I'm going to start doing that now. So I took these two little screws out here. There was one here and here. And then I kind of pulled from these wedges right here, and you can see this is what kind of holds these latches on, in addition to those two screws I already took off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this here, and luckily I had enough slack in my water lines. So you kind of, probably better to do it from right here. You just kind of get this off of the pulley here without pinching yourself too much. Might grab a screwdriver to help me. I already got the other side off. See, it's being a little stubborn. Here we go. Let's pull it out a little bit more. And now this door, there's really nothing holding it on because I did the other side already. So I should be able to get this door off pretty easily. And then kind of a pro tip is an ironing board makes a really good kind of makeshift work table here. So let me see if I can get this off and onto my ironing table. All right, now that we got the door off, I already removed, there were two screws down here, one on each side that need to be removed. I already did those when I thought that's all I had to do to get the door off. In the process, I think I bent that bracket there a little bit, but I can bend that back. And then there's another 1/4 inch nut there and a 1/4 inch nut here. And then there's two T25 Torx screws on each side. So 6 more screws need to come out. I'm going to go ahead and take those out now. All right, then I was able to separate the top from the bottom. You can kind of see it sliding here. So what you do is you hold the handle firmly and then pull up with the other hand. And depending on how stuck it is, it can be harder, but I was able to get it out actually without much trouble. You can even see a little bit of adhesive there. So I'm going to get this apart and then flip this over and start working on getting this control board right here. So I've got the door flipped up. We're going to disconnect the wiring harnesses there and there. Then we're going to take these 4 screws out. Then we should be able to get this board with the light bar on top of it off, and then start working on separating those two. You can just kind of wiggle it out as I'm doing here. We'll take this over here. And then we're going to have to separate this part here from this gray plastic housing without being kind of gentle and not breaking these clips as you go along. So I'm going to get a tiny screwdriver and start working on that. So yeah, this first, you just kind of pry up gently on this as gently as you can until that first tab pops up. Then it kind of gets easier as you go down. Let's see if we can get the second one here. The smaller screwdriver. There may be a slightly better pry tool for this. I might even grab one to see if that works just a little bit better. This one's also pretty stubborn. And we got it there. Looks like, yeah, we got it without breaking it. And so once you get those two, then it kind of comes off on its own. Let's see if we can get this last one. This last kind of little clip here. And we got it. All right, and once we got this top bar off, you can just kind of push it out through the bottom there. We've successfully removed our board here. Not clear why it failed. But it certainly, they send you a slightly different model as the replacement, so that may kind of speak as to why it failed, and they know they have an issue with it, so they made a new one. Well, let me get the new board out, and we'll get it configured and back in. So I got my new board here. The main difference is it comes with this kind of pins area where you have to change the configuration based on the directions. So I have a GE profile front and top control model, and that's where they kind of point out that area there that I was highlighting, this little black pins area. So then you flip it over and it tells you how to configure those pins. So you look for your model number. To find your model number, it's just right inside here. Let's see if it'll focus on there. It's on GDT655. And then you go find it on your directions here. GDT655, that puts me in the 11 category. So I need to configure my pins like this, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense based on the picture and what you're looking at, but I'll show you guys how to do it. So you kind of come here, and these little pins kind of wiggle back and forth. You can kind of take them off just real gently. It's a little bit harder than it looks. Yeah, this one's coming off here. So now you have just the two exposed pins, and according to my drawing in the directions, it recommends covering up both of them with the on that one there on the 8 slot. I'm just going to take them all off because it's easier to get them off when there's not one next to it. So my configuration, the 8 goes over both, and the 8-4 and the 4 slot just covers the first pin or the front pin. And then on the other ones, you cover both of them. And that one I have upside down. So hopefully I did not break it there, because that would be unfortunate. It looks good. We're going to do one more. I have that one upside down too. All right. So then you go back to your drawing. And it looks like we're matched up there. Looks good. So now we're going to put everything back together. All right, so we'll see how this snaps back on. And it all fits together tight, which is good, because it was always stressful prying that apart. We'll go ahead and get this back into the door. And of note, guys, these pull cords here, they're actually attached to springs behind there. So if the whole pull cord comes out, you're gonna have to reattach it to the spring, which is no big deal. I'm not sure if you can get a great view back there. Let's see. You can kind of see that spring back there dropping down and see how it fell off. So I was trying to figure out what that spring was for, or what to attach this to. But that's what you have to do. Also, guys, you may have to, this drip pan will probably fall down while you're doing this project. And to reinstall it, basically you just kind of lift up on the tabs. There's 4 tabs in each corner. You kind of position it there and line it up with the holding tabs, and then you can reach in and kind of bend them down in each of the corners. I'm just saying that because the other video on YouTube, the guy didn't have a drip pan on his, but likely yours will. Alright, guys, before I put it all back together, I wanted to test to make sure it turned on. So I went ahead and plugged it in and then restored power to the board, and it powered on. So that's a very good sign. I'm going to go ahead and put it all back together. Alright, so I got the 2 sides back together. I'm going to put the screws back in. When putting these back to the doors back together, I think it's easier to do it standing up, just because all the insulation in the back of this door kind of wants to fall out. And there's a few things that like kind of slide around. So if you have a nice kind of mat like this, I'd go ahead and use that standing up to get it back together, and then you can put it back on your table or ironing board or level surface, and then put the screws back in, and then we'll be ready to hook it back up to the dishwasher. And these are the 2 screws I'm talking about, guys, on the bottom. For this model dishwasher, you don't need to take those out. That would just be an extra step. So leave those 2 screws in. I'll go ahead and show you how to get this door off. Alright, guys, now I'm going to try and get this door back on. So the audio might not be as good here because I don't have a microphone on, but I'll try and talk through it. Alright, so I got my door, and again, it's a good idea to have a mat right here. There's a couple of hinges there, just gotta make sure those are lined up on the outside. And not too bad. So as you can see, guys, not too bad. You kind of just line it up so the door is kind of right here, just 15 degrees or so. And there's these screws that fit into the slots there. So now we'll try and kind of get these connected. So if this is pulling out, then it's not connected to the spring, and you got to reach back there and connect it to the spring. But this one appears to be connected. So what we'll probably do is put that on there. And at this point I can close the door. You kind of hear the spring back there. Good. So I got one side done. We'll see, let's go over here on the other side. We'll probably do the similar strategy. Kind of slipping it in there. And yeah, as you see, it fell off the spring in the back. So we're going to have to reach back there and see if we can connect it. Alright, guys, I was able to reach back there and connect it. I would say it's actually almost easier to do that, to connect it to the hinge on the door first, and then connect it to the spring. For some reason, this left side kept wanting to fall off the spring. But let's see if we can get this pushed back in. All right, so I got the door back on and lined up. A little bit harder than I thought it would be, just pushing it in there. Basically, you have this kind of black strip around here that there's a part behind there that tucks behind there and keeps all the insulation in place. And then you have to kind of line up your holes and make sure that your door fits in. That's in, so now I'm going to put the kick plate on and then we'll be all done. And there it is, finally getting my dishes done. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. And I'll catch you all next time.